Rumors are the Golden State Warriors are considering now Zach Lavine instead of Jimmy Butler, I guess because of the fit, age, skill wise. I don't know, but hey, this is something interesting and we should talk about it.
This is your home for all things Chicago Bulls. Join the conversation. You're listening to Chicago Bulls Nation.
What is going on, Bulls Nation? So, the trade deadline is a week from now, and there's a lot of buzz going on about the league, Jimmy Butler all at the center of it. Where is he gonna land? Are the Bulls gonna be involved in this massive trade? Are the Bulls even gonna make a trade? Who knows what's gonna happen, right? But there are reports now where the Golden State Warriors are more inclined into getting Zach Lavine instead of Jimmy Butler. Well, acquiring Jimmy Butler is as risky as, if not riskier, than acquiring somebody like Zach Lavine. On the surface, if you're Golden State, Zach is like a younger, more athletic version of Klay Thompson. Now, not as defensive wise, because at his peak, Klay is really good defensively, but Zach is playing at the peak of I think his powers right now. He's really efficient, scoring at will. So just on the surface, from the outside looking in, it looks like he will fit the culture of Golden State Warriors, the way they, it's a free-flowing basketball. Curry, he can play off the ball, so was Zach Lavine. So it looks like a good match on the surface. Also, he's making less than Jimmy Butler. He's younger. It's not like Butler's gonna give you 82 games. He's also missing some games. Zach Lavine, he's not really that injury prone as a lot of people make it out to be. We all know what happened last year. If you're a Bulls fan, he kind of gave up playing, because when he thought he was going to go to Detroit Pistons last year, he opted for that surgery, which he didn't have to. With that being said, right now, last year, you can have Zach Lavine for nothing. This is a different story this year. He is playing at a high level. So I was expecting, not only would the Bulls, that wasn't a starter anyway, where the Bulls would have to give up assets to get rid of Zach Lavine. That is not the case. That wasn't ever the case, I believe. And most likely now, that's not the case. Zach Lavine only has outside of this year, he only has 2 years left on his contract. One is a player option. If Zach Lavine continues playing the way he is, he might even opt out of that last deal in hopes that he would capitalize on his big play to have more years extended to his contract. So this is not the case where you are going to get Zach Lavine for peanuts. With that being said, if you're the Bulls, you don't want to overplay your hand as well. You don't want to ask for the moon or, several draft picks. Ideally, you would get one or a younger talent, but realistically, if Golden State comes knocking on the door, how does the trade looks like? So in my opinion, this is without a question, Andrew Wiggins would have to be involved. That is not, that's not even a question right now. Due to salary matching, in it by itself, you need to include Andrew Wiggins. So with Andrew Wiggins being involved, it's still not enough. You need to match salaries, and with that, you need to have somebody like, I believe you need Gary Payton and also Kevon Looney. This is straight up, no picks whatsoever. I'm assuming the worst here for the Bulls. As a Bulls fan, of course, I want picks, but we're Golden State. They're probably going to be like, hey, Wiggins is a good player. Maybe we'll give you a second rounder. That's it. But with this, what the Bulls would gain is $17 million of expiring contracts between Gary Payton and Kevon Looney, which you could use down the line, to sign free agents or maybe facilitate. Because if you are still on the mindset of losing and trying to keep that pick that you owe to San Antonio, you might want to lose. So what you could do here is get some unwanted contracts, kind of like with Miami and Phoenix, and in the process gather some assets. Let's say you're gonna grab Bradley Beal's contract next year, which is kind of crazy to think about it. You just got rid of Zach. But in return, they would give you tons of picks. Or I'm just using Bradley Beal as an example, but it could be anybody else, right? Julius Randle, for example. You can facilitate where you would acquire Julius Randle. You take him along with some picks. I don't even think Minnesota has picks, but you get the idea here. That's, if I was the Bulls, that is something that I would try to do. Now with Golden State, as far as this is concerned, they might say no to Kevon Looney because now they don't have a big guy. And the Bulls has no bigs to send out to them. It's already a big enough salary. So they might switch Kevon Looney to Slow-Mo Anderson. Which, if that is the case, if you're the Bulls, now you want me to now I don't have any expiring contracts. I only got Gary Payton. That is not enough incentive for me to take on these guys and give you a premier player like Zach Lavine. Now you got to give me a first rounder. Because now this is just, now you're asking me to absorb bad, I wouldn't even call that super bad contract, but that is no different than keeping Zach Lavine now. Because now you have Slow-Mo and Andrew Wiggins pretty much for the same amount of time that you might have Zach Lavine. At least Zach Lavine would, sell tickets. I doubt Slow-Mo would do that. Can you flip Slow-Mo later on? Sure, but, you might need to attach assets for that because he's still owed, a few millions in the next a couple of years. They're easier to offload, though. Somebody like Wiggins, who's only owed 26, and Slow-Mo, who's only owed 9 and 10, it's a lot easier to get rid of than somebody like Zach Lavine. But with that being said, this is not last year where you're the Bulls, you're just giving away Zach. So this might be a good starting framework, depending on, how they want to, put this together. Again, they might just replace Looney with Slow-Mo, and that might result in a first or maybe a couple of seconds. I don't even think that Golden State has. Oh, I think they have a couple of seconds, but we'll see what happens. Realistically, Golden State could swing two trades for the Bulls. They could land both Zach and Nikola Vucevic in that trade, and that would make them a powerhouse, in my opinion, along with Torrey Craig. But it depends on them. But if they do a trade with Vooch and Zach, they might have to include Kuminga in that. But we'll see. But let me know in the comments, how do you feel about this trade? Are we finally going to move on from Zach? Are there better trades out there that you know of? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.